golfj.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Golf J podcast on golfj.com. I'm Jim Sinacropi alongside Rhett Taccone inside the Finger Lakes 1.TV studios in Seneca Falls, New York on Monday night, October 19th, and we have a ton to talk about, including Emiliano Grillo, the first winner of the 2016 PGA Tour season.
Want to know? He's the only guy that's undefeated this year.
A tip out of the pages of Ben Hogan's famous 5 Lessons book. We'll give you our fantasy golf picks for the Shriners at the TPC Summerlin in Las Vegas, and we'll have a chance for you to win a sweet Golf J hat.
I was going to mention that. That's a nice hat you got there.
One of a kind.
It is one of a kind.
And if you're the first to answer this week's trivia question on Twitter, which we'll ask later in the show,
You'll get another one of a kind hat.
golfj.com golf hats.
That's right.
The logo's nice. People will be saying, where'd you get that hat?
Exactly.
You'll say golfj.com podcast.
No doubt. No doubt. Hopefully
All right.
They'll talk us up once they get the hat, too.
Well, here it is, almost a week away from Halloween, and the new PGA Tour season is underway. And Emiliano Grillo, the Argentinian, it was exciting to watch the Fryscom.
The drama was there right from the beginning. You had a guy going out heavy in the lead, and then he came back to the field on Sunday, and everybody bunched up, and you had guys going up and down. Justin Rose was in the lead for a while, and he
9
backed
players
off.
had to share the lead on Sunday during the final round, and it was Grillo winning in his rookie debut at the Frys.com Open, and he defeated Kevin Na in a playoff that was great to watch, great viewing if you turned away from Sunday football, the Golf Channel to watch it. And the first playoff hole, they played the 18th hole, par 5, twice. They had to determine the winner. The first time through, Grillo has a 3-footer to win it. And everything that comes with the win.
Right.
And he pulled it a little and lipped out. And then he had a tester coming back. They go back again. Grillo's right of the green and 2. Kevin Na's in the middle of the fairway with a driver off the deck. Snipe hooks it so bad, kicks that thing left.
It worked for him. He said it. I mean, it worked for him in regulation, and he said he did it a few times during the week. But I mean, the length these guys have, don't you think a 3-wood's going to still get you into position there? I mean, he was talking about having to, the driver got him up far enough in position to go after that pin. Well, Grillo hits his second shot from out of the bunker, and then his second shot was well back of where Kevin Na's 3-wood would have been, and he still put it right up on the green. So I don't know that. He said he'd do it again if he had another chance, but obviously he doesn't have another chance because he did it that time.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it again if I was him. I'm sure he wouldn't have either, but if Kevin Na wants to say he would have done it again, then Kevin Na can say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, thought it was a bad play. Anything right would have been good where that pin was. And then he hits a great shot, but can't get up and down to even force Grillo to make his putt. Have to make him make another one. He had about 4 feet left for birdie. Yeah. He did make it, but he only needed the 2 putt for the win.
Right.
He's wins a $1.8 million. He's going to the Masters.
That's
he's going to the
right
PGA.
Get the hat right there, the green and yellow. He's going to the Masters. I mean, that's what they all talk about. He's getting to all those majors, but he's going to the Masters. That's what everybody thinks. As soon as they win, the first guy wins, that's the first thing they think about is, I'm going to the Masters.
And he's also going up the world golf rankings at 36 now.
Yeah, he's doing well.
We're going to give our fantasy picks later. He was my sleeper pick this week, which when the Golf Kings rankings came out, he was 8,800, so not much of a sleeper, but I was actually surprised by that. But he ends up winning, and at age 23, he continues the youth trend on the tour. Last season, we saw 24 winners in their 20s, the most on tour since 1970. And since the start of the 2013-14 season, 51% of winners have been in their 20s, which really bucks the trend of what golf has been traditionally.
Oh, yeah.
You need to get into your 30s before you're mature enough to win on tour, unless for the rare few.
Yeah, you talk about the 90s and the 2000s. You saw most of the guys winning on tour were in 30s and 40s. And now the youth is served quickly. Now you don't have to. It's not like not that they aren't paying their dues, but they don't have to pay their dues like you would see going 10 years before a win. These guys are coming out and winning right away.
And when a guy like Davis Love in his 30s wins, it's kind of a oddity a little bit.
You mean his 50s?
Well, yeah, that's definitely rare. Definitely rare. Yeah. But you don't see many 40-year-olds winning. No. I'm trying to think of it. J.J. Henry won.
J.J. Henry won. Yeah, Davis, older won.
Mickelson's in his 40s
Dickie
whenever
Pride.
he wins. With Dickie Pride on the web.com
Yeah.
tour.
But yeah, I mean it's a young man's game nowadays, and I don't think the guys in their 40s and 30s are done by any means. And
the young guys are just good.
the young guys are really good. They're coming out really good. They're playing a lot earlier. They're we talked about it before. They're into the fitness. They're just that much better and much more prepared when they come onto the tour than say 10, 15, 20 years ago when those guys did.
Well, new season underway. A lot of guys in action. World number 3 Rory McIlroy playing in this field in this tournament. You think he's going to run away with it, but didn't putt well, and you have to wonder if this is something that's going to haunt him into next year.
Yeah, well, he said he kind of was using this as a warm up for the race to Dubai, which he's leading, and he's coming down to with the last 4 or 5 tournaments there, I think. But he just didn't. I don't know if he just didn't look interested. He's kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pick him in our fantasy picks last week, because it's just, to me, Rory McIlroy's not going to get up for the Fryscom Open.
And I guess I was kind of fooled by it, by him declaring early, and all the talk about it when him and Tiger were going to play, and before Tiger got hurt. But yeah, he definitely. I think he was there to sample some wines and get a little work, but nothing crazy. He's got to get that putter going though, or he might not win the race to Dubai.
Yeah, he's. Just look at Spieth when in the playoffs in the Tour Championship. I mean, that's all putting.
Right.
Looking at some of the other guys that finished, Justin Rose was tied for the lead until the turn, and he missed a 3-foot par putt on 12, dropped 2 more shots, shooting 72 final round. I mean, Justin Rose.
And he was there. I mean, he was ready to take that tournament after the 11th hole. He walks off there, and you think he's gonna finish the deal.
Justin Thomas was in position to join the playoff. He comes to the 16th hole, a par 5, pars it, and then the 18th hole, the finishing hole, par 5, pars it, misses the playoff by 1 shot. And then, you got Brendan Steele as well.
Yeah.
Struggling. He led most of he was a 3-round leader, and then he carded a 76.
Putting.
Finished tied for 17th.
A bunch of guys that had some really bad 4th rounds that were in the mix there. Koepka even had didn't have as good a 4th round. He kind of fell off.
75 or 76 himself.
Yeah, he was way back there.
And he was my pick to win.
And he's, our picks to win didn't come through, but we'll talk more about it. We did do well as far as making the cuts.
Well, the PGA is going to stay at Silverado next season in Napa Valley, but there's going to be a new sponsor. Fry's is out, Safeway's in, and I kind of don't like that only because, I wish I wanted to be consistent for the season opener.
Yeah. Well, you hope that tournament sticks around. I mean, based on the crowds that were there yesterday, a little bit light. I mean, there's a lot going on in the fall, and golf isn't necessarily on everyone's mind. But you would think, a major professional golf tournament in Napa that doesn't have any other sports, you might would have got a few more people there. But I'm sure the Tiger factor, hurt the crowds a little bit. But anyways, hopefully that tournament stays there. I know a lot of the players say that they like it a lot there. Hopefully that's there to stay.
Well, we talked about Grillo missing on that short putt, and I got to thinking about a lot of the short putts that have been missed lately. I don't know if you saw this week at the Portugal Masters, Alvaro Quiros. That wasn't a yip putt. He hit it back of the cup and it bounced right back at him. And you can see a video of this at golfj.com, and it's one of the most unkind things I've ever seen.
That was just not taking his time and not focusing on it. But
you think Quiros was not focusing? I think he hit it perfect, and it just bounced straight back at him.
Maybe
it was
hit it too hard. I don't know. These guys
a little too hard, but
whether it's the pressure or just not concentrating enough. I mean,
well, you want to talk about a bad putt? Ernie Els putt last week at the Dunhill Links Championship, where he was this far away and missed it by about that far.
Yeah, and he dead pushed that thing. I mean, that wasn't a lip out or anything. He missed the cup. I mean,
that was a yip.
That was
not
as
a
bad as they get. But it just seems like in the last couple of weeks you had the couple of the putts at the President's Cup. Lahiri missed one. Bubba Watson actually missed one before him. Pretty much the same
putt. Both of them could swing the whole competition.
Yeah, and ended up neither of their points mattered, but the two of them, I don't know, they were obviously, I don't know, Lahiri maybe went a little too quick on his putt. Bubba just missed it. He took his time, but I don't know, the pressure / not taking their time, not concentrating on it just
It's
seems
pressure.
to be a trend.
It's all pressure. If they're not taking their time, it's because of the pressure.
Well, that could be true.
They just want to get up there and get it over.
I mean,
but
Larry was fast on that putt.
I agree. Missed his, but it was pressure. You kidding me? Like you said, the Masters is on the line. Tours exemptions.
Yeah.
In 1.8 million. Even a spot on the Olympic team. He knocked Angel Cabrera off, and now he's on there with Fabian Gomez in terms of the Argentina
point system.
Olympic team. So as far as lips go, our yips go, it's pressure, and I've felt it myself.
Yeah, no different pressure at Seneca Falls Country Club or
when you are sitting over one of those putts. It's different than the fourth hole when nobody's watching. When Grillo misses that putt or Harry misses it, those are the ones that you remember.
Yeah.
And so when you're over it, you know that this is like going to define you.
Absolutely.
And it's an easy putt.
I mean,
it becomes difficult with the pressure.
It's funny though, because with not Lahiri, but the one that Ernie missed. Yeah. That one was. I don't know if there was pressure on that one. He just kind of blew that one. I mean,
that was just like a brain fart.
Yeah. But Garillo's putt, he misses that. Then Kevin Knobb, takes a driver off the deck and pulls it dead left. It's just funny how things work out anyways. He still won the tournament. It didn't cost him, but it could have. I mean, how many things it could have cost him,
How was he feeling this morning if that was the case? Yeah, if he misses that and now comes back and but he came back and birdied it, so good for him.
Exactly.
And I think that's what happens when you get a little case of a yip or you miss a short one in competition, whether it's at your local country club or on the PGA Tour, is you got to move on immediately.
Exactly.
You can't dwell on it.
Short memory. You got it, just like an interception in football. You got to forget it and move on.
So across the pond, Andy Sullivan.
Who?
Yeah, Andy Sullivan won for the third time this year on the Euro Tour, and it's not just that he won for the third time. It was a 9-shot win.
So we won't be saying who for long, we won't be saying that anymore. The way he's winning tournaments over there, he's moving right up the list too for the race to Dubai. He could make some noise with that.
And he's in the world top 50 now with that performance.
It's match play championship in the spring and all the majors. He'll be you're going to hear his name quite a bit moving forward.
Yeah, remember Andy Sullivan for your Masters pools in the spring, and also building the case to make the European Ryder Cup team.
I mean, we got a ways to go with points there too. So he keeps winning like that. I don't think he'll be left off the roster.
So 28 years old, the first player to win 3 times during the 2015 European Tour season. Andy Sullivan does it in convincing fashion.
Congrats to him.
So time for a little Golf J Trivia Challenge. Get ready to tweet your answer to @TheGolfJ on Twitter. Each week's winner will be entered. Or actually, first one gets the Golf J hat.
Yes, absolutely.
Last week it was Tristan Blaine getting the Golf J hat. And he answered the question of who was the captain of the first U.S. President's Cup team in 1984 and who was the captain of the international team. And, of course, the answer was Hale Irwin and David Graham. This week, we want to know, in honor of the international player Emiliano Grillo winning the first tournament of the year, which international golfer has the most all-time PGA Tour wins? If you look at the list of all time,
there's a lot.
They're all Americans.
Yeah.
This guy's 14th all time, the only golfer in the top 20 who's not American to have a list of career wins. So I can give you another hint. He won 34 times. He won 3 majors. He had a 16-year career.
He's been around a while.
So we'll tweet that answer @TheGolfJ, and if you're the first one, you'll get the hat. And we'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
Yep.
So moving on to our next segment, which is the greatest golf tips of all time, where each week we're pulling out a classic tip from somewhere, and it doesn't get more classic in terms of golf tips than this right here.
This is old school golf, but one of the greatest players of all time wrote this book, and it's the 5 essentials of golf, 5 lessons of the modern fundamentals of golf by Ben Hogan. And today we're going to focus on one of the sections that he talks about. He talks about the grip, stance, and posture, the first part of the swing, the second part of the swing, and then he overviews it in the book. So he keeps it pretty simple. But really, one of the main parts of the book that he talks about is the stance. And power and control must be combined in a good golf swing. And the stance is a step in which a golfer sets him up. So 1, his body will be in balance throughout the swing. 2, his muscles are ready to perform fluidly. And 3, as a logical result, all the energy he pours into the swing will be channeled to produce maximum control and power. So what he's talking about is basically having your feet firmly planted on the ground, your feet shoulder width apart for a basic 5-iron shot. And when you go with a longer iron or a driver or metal wood, you want you to have your feet a little outside of your shoulders. And then when you go with a higher lofted iron or wedges, you should have your feet just inside your shoulders. But the key is a solid base there. And then he goes on to speak about the footing of your stance. There's a correct and incorrect way, he says, to have your footing when you're taking your stance. Lots of us, we take both our feet at a 90-degree angle, but Ben talks a little bit about adjusting that just a bit. There is one correct basic stance. The right foot has a right angle to the line of flight, and the left foot is turned out a quarter of a turn to the left. And what he means, and you'll see in the picture there, what he means with the left foot is that from 90 degrees, you're going to take it out a quarter, so it's pointing a little bit up the fairway, and then your right foot is straight 90 degrees away from your body.
I like that stance for myself. My problem is I like to have a slightly open stance, I think, and that's a product of that toe moving out. And what happens, I'll get more open and open and open as the round goes on, and you don't even realize how open I am to the ball. But that's why you lay down the golf sticks. You know, you got to check your alignment, check your stance, make sure you're square on the range.
He says with that little bit of adjustment to your foot, that gets you going in that direction as you swing, as you're coming through the ball and following through. Instead of turning your foot, you're already in that motion. And that's basically what he says about the stance. And, he won a few majors. He's won a few tournaments.
My favorite golf swing. I love watching any old footage of him playing golf.
I think he knows what he's talking about. You can take that tip and do with it what you want. But pretty good book from Ben Hogan. I suggest anyone that doesn't have it or is looking for some very basically broken down ways to swing a golf club, get the modern fundamentals of golf by Ben Hogan.
Well, even today, it stands up as one of the best things you can do if you're a beginning golfer. Here, read this book and try to emulate what Ben Hogan says, and you'll be off to a good start.
Well, his swing was as pretty as they get in golf, and it stood the test of time, and there was proof by all the tournament wins and the majors and the big shots he hit in majors.
Well, it's that time of year here in the Northeast. It's fall. It's cold. People are maybe tending not to want to play golf as much. But I'm telling you, this is the time to get out there. You dress for it. It's not as bad as you might think.
Layer up.
We played on Wednesday. It was a high in the lower 50s.
Lower 50s if we were lucky.
Light winds, luckily. A little bit of drizzle in the air at times. And we were a little apprehensive. We had a match set up. We go out there, and, by the 4th or 5th hole, the sun was peeking through. We're shedding layers, even though it was 52. It's never as bad as you think out there.
No, because you're moving around and you're swinging, you're taking your practice swings, you're hitting your shots, you're walking a little bit, you're keeping it going, and
you're playing golf.
And you're playing golf, and it's as beautiful a time in the year to play golf.
Yeah, a lot of ways I like it better than when it's 86 out or 90 degrees and humid. It was almost perfect last Wednesday.
It was good, and I'd play it even a little colder if we had to. We're getting short on days that we can play now up here in the Northeast, but fall golf is as good as it gets.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
It's beautiful
to do.
out there.
Get out there and keep playing golf. Don't stop until there's 2 inches of snow on the ground.
Well, see, I didn't play this week on Sunday like I normally would because it was a high of like 44. But I'm telling you, around 11 a.m. I'm outside and I'm
by noontime. Saturday afternoon. Saturday was cold in the morning, but in the afternoon it was nice. It's just as good time as it gets to play golf. It's dry, the ground is still solid and dry. You're not playing spring golf where it's soggy and wet and things haven't grown out yet.
Right.
Get out there and play golf.
Well, it's that time of the show now, my favorite time of the show, where it's time to talk fantasy golf. And last week I didn't do so well in my leagues or my DraftKings, but I did do well with my picks that I offered up here. The problem last week was the DraftKings released the numbers so late that when we're picking sleepers and favorites, it was tough to tell.
Yeah.
So my sleeper, Emiliano Grillo,
wins the tournament.
So
you
it was
did
a
pick the
good
winner.
pick. But if I saw his DraftKings number, I wouldn't have put him as a sleeper because
Right.
he was about the 10th
Yeah,
highest.
he was in the middle. Now he's way up.
But you know how we did last week. I had Koepka to win. He finished tied for 41st. You had McIlroy. He finished tied for 26th. Not so great there.
Right.
But we did have top 10 picks in Justin Rose.
Yep.
Top 20 picks in Matsuyama, Daniel Berger, Hudson Swafford, and Brandt Snedeker. And all 12 of our picks made the cut.
And that's probably you want to pick the winner. Picking a winner out of all that group of guys is tough to do. You want to be consistent in having your guys making the cuts, because if they make the cuts and one of them does actually win or finish in a couple of them finish in the top 10, you're going to have a better chance to win your pool or do well on DraftKings.
Yeah, and get the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
So this week we're going to try to pick the winner. It's
do.
the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open, TPC Summerlin, Las Vegas. You played it. Tell us a little bit about the course.
It's a tough course. It's very tight, and there's the greens are fast as they get. It's a very difficult course, but great layout. It's one of those things where accuracy is going to be at a premium, though. You can't just bomb it all over the place because there's desert on either sides of the fairways, and there's a lot of trouble to get into if you're putting it left or right off the tee.
Well, I don't know if these guys are bringing a better game to the TPC Summerlin than you did. I feel it'll be as difficult for these guys,
Probably.
but
I played a few tees forward than they'll play.
So we got some names in this field that we haven't seen yet this year, and Jason Duffner, Keegan Bradley, Ricky Fowler playing his first event in 2016. Davis
back.
Love III's playing. It's similar to last week in that there is a little bit of star power, but we're going to be missing obviously.
Rory's out.
Spieth out.
George
Jason
Spieth's
Day.
out. Yeah.
So, but
DJ's out. None of those guys are playing. So.
Should be fun, and another West Coasters for East Coast primetime viewing.
Love that Golf
it was
Channel.
5 to 8 slot on Golf Channel.
Golf Channel can cover every tournament as far as I'm concerned. They do a great job.
Yeah, I agree. So who we got for winners this week? I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm going to take a local product there in Las Vegas. Played at UNLV and he's won 4 times on tour. He won this tournament in 2012 and set the tournament record at 260. I'm going to go with Ryan Moore. So I like
he had
him.
a good finish last week.
He did. He was tied for 10. He was T10 last week, and he's playing well, going home. So
I can't argue with that pick, seeing he holds the tournament record on the same course.
Yeah.
And he's playing well now. You can get him for $10,000 on DraftKings this week,
he's up there.
He's up there, but for a guy like you said that holds a tournament record and came in 10th place last week, probably a good pick.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of stubborn. I went with Koepka last week.
Yeah, you did.
And he did not win. He came in tied for 41st, but you know what?
He's going with him again,
I'm going
people.
with my man again because I just really feel like this is he's going to have a breakout season. I'd like to see him get something under his belt before we get into the new year.
I mean, that's a solid pick every week. I mean, I don't know what happened with the 4th round last week at Frys, but it's hard to go against him. Every week that he's playing, he's going to be a threat to win the tournament.
Well, he tied for 4th last year at the Shriners. Disappointing, he tied for 41st last week at the Frys. Up and down, 69 and 66, but also a 72 in a final round 75.
Yeah.
The thing about Koepka, he's 8th in driving distance. He has more eagles than anyone else had on tour in 2015. He's ranked 1st last season in putting from 48 feet. So, and what's more, that's such a great category because those are the ones that are just outside the
he's not yipping
makeable. No, maybe he's yipping them from inside, but 4 to 8, he's money. He's the number 11 ranked player in the world playing in the Shriners. You know,
he's playing every
something's
week.
got to give, and DraftKings has him surprisingly at 10,900, which is the second highest player on the board behind Ricky Fowler, and you know, from a guy who hasn't.
He's getting
playing great. He seems to be getting too much love
he's
from
getting
guys like me.
He's getting a lot of love, and but you know he's playing a lot. Those young guys, they play all the time. So he's done what he needs to do. He's definitely a guy to be reckoned with in the years to come, and can't argue with your pick there.
And I hope I'm not. Sometimes I start to like a guy, you know, and I think I really feel like Koepka is about to get hot. It's like in the summer when I was riding Jason Day before he won his tournaments. I could feel like he was going to break through, and then when he did, it has a beautiful few weeks of fantasy golf.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So those are our winners. Kepka and more. Now we got to fill out our teams here. So we got 4 strong plays to advise to our viewers, and then 1 sleeper. My first strong play is Will Wilcox. You can get him for only $8,200 at DraftKings. He's tied for 10th at the Frys last week. And this guy's been all around the top of PGA Tour leaderboards this summer. He was tied for 8 at John Deere, 2nd place at the Barbasol Championship, tied for 21st at the Quicken Loans, tied for 10th at the Barracuda Championships, tied for 26th at the Wyndham. And the young fella hold a shot last week. He's another one of these young guys that's going to break through and become another 20-year-old winner.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys we're talking about now. For so many years it was 5 to 8 guys that we were talking about. Now we're talking about 20 guys that could come out and win a tournament. Guys that haven't won, have just started playing on tour. Now, I mean, all these guys are they're ready to break out, and it's fun to watch all these guys.
So who you got for a strong play?
Well, I'm not getting off of him until he proves me wrong, but Brandt Snedeker, he's at 10,100 on DraftKings, but he's a cut machine. He makes every cut. He's always in contention. He did scare me last week with that opening 73, but after that, for 3 rounds, he was 11 under. If he puts 4 rounds together, I like him in the top 5 of the tournament, or to possibly break through and win. He was T10 at the event last year, and again, he's one of the surest bets on tour for a week-to-week making cuts and putting your fantasy team in contention.
Yeah, your team never looks bad with Snedeker on there. Yeah. I got Scott Piercy. You can get him at DraftKings for $9,700. Tied for 7th last year on the same course in the same event. He came on end of the year during the playoffs, 3rd at the BMW, 25th at the Tour Championship. Feel good about Piercy. I'll run off a couple more right now in my strong plays. Hudson Swafford. I went on and on about him last week, and he didn't disappoint. He came in tied for 17th last week. He's tied for 18th last year. He's a bargain on DraftKings for $7,400. This is the bargain of all bargains, people. I'm telling you, he's made the cut in 12 of 16 starts.
Yep.
Of his last 16 starts, he's ranked 10th in total driving, 22nd all around, and $7,400 on DraftKings. And another guy who's even more of a bargain than Swafford. I'm going with bargains.
I'm going bargain. I might go a little different, but go ahead.
But guy who tied for 17th at the Frys and watched his fellow countrymen win, Fabian Gomez. 2 top 40 finishes in his last 2 FedEx playoff events. Fellow Argentine, probably inspired by Grillo's win. Yeah. Made the cut in 17 of his 27 career PGA Tour starts. Fabian Gomez at $6,500, I think is a strong play. I would think about Gomez at $7,500.
Yeah.
So who are you going to go with Snedeker for your strong plays?
We talk about all these young guys, and I love them all, but I'm not ready to just start picking all of them. So I'm going to stay a little chalk and go with Ricky Fowler. I know he didn't play so good in the President's Cup after the first day, but he's the highest rated guy on DraftKings at 12,200. He had 7 top 10s last year with 2 wins, 2 big wins, by the way. One was the Players, and then one in the FedEx Cup playoffs. And he lives in Vegas. He's probably played that course 1,000 times as well. He's just a good play for me. I'm going to stay with the hot hand with Emiliano Grillo. He's won his last 2 tournaments, and obviously he's up the list pretty high too, so you can't take all of these guys, but he's at 10,200. I think he's 3rd on the list.
I'm not taking Grillo this week because I have a rule, fantasy golf. Guy has a career-changing win, whether it's his first PGA Tour win or his first major. I don't take him the next week. I just don't do it.
It's Vegas. He's going to be out every night. He's spending all that $1.8 million.
I don't do it, but I got burned with Jason Day when he won the PGA. Yeah, I said I'm not taking him the next week.
I would definitely. I don't know if I go 3 weeks in a row, but this week I'm going to take him. I think he's got a hot hand, and he's going to ride it for a little bit more.
10,200 on DraftKings.
Yep, he's moved right up the list pretty quick.
Yeah, more than Brandt Snedeker.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then my other solid pick is Patrick Rogers. He was T6 last week. He was T2 at Wells Fargo last year. He's 9th in overall driving distance at 307 yards. He's playing really well, and he's one of those guys that is a breakout guy. He's going to win one of these next few weeks here. I feel good about him.
So how about your sleeper? Who you got?
I'm going to keep riding Ollie Sneederjans because he keeps getting these tour exemptions, and one of these days he's going to bang through and win one of these.
Yeah, I really like him. I was high on him. Early on, I thought he was going to be just a phenom, basically come on tour and light things up. Not unlike Tiger Woods or Jordan Spieth, I felt like he was going to be the next to elevate, and he kind of has disappointed a little bit. But at 6,800, it's a good play.
And he's consistent, and his game holds up well. He going back to the British, he plays in all kinds of conditions. He's very consistent with it, and one of these days he's going to break through. So I'm looking forward to him getting his permanent card.
My sleeper pick, and I'm going deep sleeper, 5,300 on DraftKings, and it's Stuart Appleby. For 5,300, you get a guy with the experience of Stuart Appleby. So if you want to top load your team, if you want Fowler, Grillo, Koepka, you're going to need a guy at 5,300 like Stuart Appleby. Yeah. And, the Frys.com was his first tournament since the Pebble Beach Pro-Am in February. And he finished tied for 61st at the Frys and made the cut. And so he's getting back into the swing. I expect to see improvement this week. And I think for 5,300 that Stuart Appleby could easily find himself in the top 10 at the Shriners. So
I was surprised when you made that pick. I thought you were going to go with Johnny Vegas in Vegas, but Appleby's a winner, a proven tour player. He's won a lot of tournaments. That's not a bad pick, especially at $5,300.
So have fun making your teams on DraftKings. Good luck in all your fantasy golf leagues, and we'll tell you how we did this week, next week on the podcast. And hey, you see the video of Michelle Wee? She ate a live squid. The LPGA was in South Korea for the KEB Hannah Bank Championship. And when in a different country, some people like to experience the culture and local cuisine. And we posted a video to Instagram of her eating a live squid. You can check it out at golfj.com. Yeah. It's pretty gross, I guess, unless you're that type of, unless you're used to eating live squid.
I'm not big on eating anything that's alive.
And I tell you, the local cuisine didn't help her game much. She finished tied for 52nd with a tournament total of 1 over par, where fellow American Lexi Thompson won the event at minus 15, beating Wee by 16 shots. Yeah. So Wee, she's less Instagram, more putting green.
Yeah, Wee's all over social media, but I think that the game needs a little work, and
And good for Lexi Thompson going to South Korea. And, we're talking about the South Korean invasion on the LPGA Tour. Lexi Thompson goes to South Korea and wins as an American. Yeah. So good for Lexi.
She's got so much game. She's going to be around for a long time and be one of the all-time greats when it's said and done. She's awesome, fun to watch.
Also on the LPGA Tour, Amy Yang.
She 9 birdies in a row.
On the back 9. It wasn't just like even stretching. Yeah. It was like she started the back 9, she birdied 10, 11, 12, right through.
27 on the back 9. It hasn't been done since, I think, Beth Daniel in 1991. But the fact that anybody else has ever done that's just impressive on the men's or women's tour.
Look, you could put me on the senior ladies tour of any golf course, and I'm not birdieing 3 in a row, let alone 9. I mean,
9 straight birdies. That's just ridiculous.
Pretty impressive.
In the zone for sure.
So our trivia answer before we get out of here, Rhett, the most victories by the highest ranked international player on the victory list, all-time PGA Tour, 34 victories. It's Vijay Singh.
You lobbed one out there for them. We don't get one for this one. He's one of the all-time greats, a Hall of Famer. Yeah. 34 wins, 3 majors, 2 Masters and a PGA.
I was just most shocked that so few internationals are ranked in the top 20. Yeah. Vijay being the only one. For Pete, but the Euro Tour used to be bigger than the PGA Tour for international players, and so I think that 15, 20 years from now that list will look a lot different. But for right now, Vijay's 34 victories have him the highest ranked international player.
And when we were saying earlier about there was only a handful of guys in the 90s and 2000s winning tournaments, well, this guy was one of them. He was at the top of the list. He was number 1 in the world for a short time there, and went head to head with Tiger and Ernie and all those guys for a while.
Well, thanks for spending the time with us tonight on the GolfJ.com podcast. You can connect with us on Twitter at the GolfJ. We're on Instagram at _GolfJ. And you can search for GolfJ on Facebook and like our page there. It would be great. Nice cards, nice props.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of stuff going on up here.
The board, we had a Michelle.
That's Michelle Wee after she ate the squid.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about
flying coach.
Yeah, he's flying
to
Vegas, and he's sleeping in the airport before his flight. He's hanging out. We got his picture there too. So we're gonna add to this board every week. Keep it going.
So all our episodes in the best of the wide world of golf on the web can be found at golfj.com. We'll be back next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, hit 'em long, not often.
golfj.com.